Welcome back inside our Paris studios. We've reached the fourth and final quarter-final match on the Xbox side. It is Tekkz taking on Resende. Predictions, please. Mike LaBelle up first.
I don't feel comfortable going against Tekkz in an elimination game, so we're going for Fnatic Tekkz.
I'll go for Resende. Why not?
Resende, what score?
Resende 3-1.
All right, let's see what the viewers at home are thinking over on our Twitch extension. 84%, that is the largest in favor of one player all day today. Fnatic Tekkz taking home 602 votes. Not bad at all. Let's hand it over to the lucky lads that get to call this one. It promises to be an absolute belter of a game, a cracking match in store. And on the call, we have got Mark and Dan Gaskin standing by. This one whet the appetite, gents?
Yeah, just a little bit. I think we're looking forward to this, not only because of the fact that these are two huge players of amazing stature in the scene, but very recently matched up as well. When Resende is in the best form of his career, in my opinion, he really is a potential tournament winner.
Yeah, they faced each other at the E-Club World Cup. However, that was in individual one-leg matches rather than the two-leg format that we see in the FUT Champions Cups. When it comes to two-legged formats, Tekkz has always beaten Resende in the times they have played each other. Two quarterfinals they faced against each other in FIFA 19, and Tekkz came on top in both of those. But the most recent game at the E-Club World Cup was Resende's victory, so I know full well Tekkz will want to gain revenge here and now.
Yeah, Tekkz will want revenge, but Resende really showed back at the FIFA E-Club World Cup that he's not adverse to putting in a big performance when the pressure is on as well. A lot of the times he was in positions at the end of the ties where he had to win for 11s in order to see them through to the next round. He got it done so many times. The occasion never worried him. And this is a big one here. The final Xbox quarter-final of the day now. A spot in the semi-finals awaits, as well as a Masters trophy. Lots on the line here. It's Resende, the Brazilian, against Tekkz.
And Tekkz is yet to not qualify for an event this season, and as of all the other pros, he will want to solidify that spot by gaining it via qualification here and now, rather than having to go back home and do it online. I'm sure the same could be said for Resende.
So Tekkz here, sitting deep, and looks like he has employed overload ball side as well to narrow up that defense. No surprise there. Alexander-Arnold fighting with Cristiano Ronaldo as he then bursts and accelerates around the outside of the Liverpool man, and it's Resende who's putting the pressure on early. Corner to the Brazilian, taken short.
Something we saw at the E-Club World Cup was just how clinical Resende is in front of goal, and how good he is at finding those opportunities and breaking through defenses as well. If we do get an early goal, I am expecting to see both of these players just going at each other's throats. It might be a slightly different spectacle than what we've seen in some other games in this tournament so far.
The Tekkz obviously coming off the back very recently of a successful EPL qualification process. Not really had to break too much of a sweat on the Xbox side of things to find himself in possession of that spot for Liverpool once again. Obviously the current reigning Premier League champion himself, and now he's going forward and looking for a strike early and testing the goalkeeper out early, just seeing if Resende was on his P's and Q's there, and Resende, well, that was a heck of a touch from Patrick Vieira.
Yeah, I respect taking a shot there. His body shape wasn't quite in the way to finesse it top bins, but I have seen him go in, and I think it's perfectly acceptable to take that shot when you do see the angle available. I think that will just be a warning sign to Resende to say, okay, I might need to press Tekkz on the edge of the area here.
Well, Mbappe got in behind momentarily there, and Tekkz has forced him back. So Resende will have to build once more. There's a little direct ball into Pele. He managed to just slip his man for a second there, and the Brazilian drops in to pick the ball up once more. Pressure here from Tekkz again, just trying to squeeze Resende. And that pressure is going to force a mistake here as the ball just rolls out of play.
For Resende, he's already had his first event representing Gareth Bale's new esports team at the E-Club World Cup, but there was always going to be that added pressure when a big name like that comes in and starts their own team, and we've seen Mesut Ozil already do it. Christian Fuchs made his own team as well. On the other side for Tekkz, I mean, what a signing it's been for Fnatic. And I guess it was almost like a double whammy, because they also were able to get Tom on loan because of their friendship and their partnership. throughout the E Nations and then the E Club.
Here's Kylian Mbappe. And you have to say that Tekkz really hasn't had too much of the ball so far in this first 23 minutes of the game. It's been all Resende, all the Brazilian. Tekkz trying to put pressure on now, but Resende still finding a way to keep possession of that ball and try and weave an attack of his own. Around the corner here to Cristiano Ronaldo. De Jong tries to come across to once again force Resende back. And now Kante finally got that ball in a central area. Pele. Well, it comes in and looks to take charge. Ball in here to the feet of R9, but Virgil van Dijk comes in and comfortably dispossesses the Brazilian.
Tekkz looking very defensive at the moment. Even though we have said he's amazing at defending at previous events. I wonder whether this is an impact of what happened at the E-Club World Cup and the loss in the one-legged format against Resende, and he's showing him a bit of respect here. It is something I always say Tekkz is good at, is reading his opponent during the first leg and then switching things up in leg number 2 and exposing their weaknesses. So maybe that's somewhat what Tekkz is trying to do in this game. Just saying, all right, well, what have you got to offer, Resende? How are you going to go at me?
Tekkz finally has a little bit of possession himself. He's had a little bit more of a comfortable spell in the game. Just being able to keep the ball at his feet. Slowly move it up the pitch. Look to pull Resende left and right before springing into action like we know he can do. There's a lovely little ball into the feet of Johan Cruyff, and Ruud Gullit was back in doing the defensive work there for Resende. The first test has been passed by the Brazilian.
Seeing more and more Cruyff as the tournament goes on. I know that Tekkz started with Ronaldinho in his lineup, but we've seen Ronaldinho fluff a few chances for several different competitors here in this tournament. Whereas Cruyff has been somewhat more consistent, although I can count back to a few occasions where he's also caused a little bit of trouble.
We'll have to see if Johan Cruyff can keep producing the goods when selected. See an incredible foot item. Prime icon moments. Dutch icon, legend, master of the game. De Jong comes in now, another Dutchman getting involved, and Vieira and R9 will have a battle over that one. It'll be Vieira who comes out on top. Just a few moments here until the half-time whistle is going to be blown and the half will be brought to an end. Is there going to be a chance here between these two players for the deadlock to be broken? Or will it be going into the break here at 0-0?
Switch of play on the left-hand side. And it will just be one last attack for Tekkz, if he even manages to get an attack, to be honest. Neither player really being able to create anything, being cancelled out in every area of the pitch by one another. It's going to have to be an over-the-top through ball here from Tekkz, which he does go for.
And now it's just a battle of pace and strength, and somehow Pele's got on the end of it. Manages to play the ball back inside. Tekkz waiting and trying to pick his moment. Gullit will collect the pieces, but it will be now cleared away by Resende. Good concentration levels there from the Brazilian. And at the break here, at half-time in the first leg, it's no goals to report between the two players.
Yeah, I expect to see a couple more of those over-the-top through balls down that wing as well. Try and take advantage of the physique of some of these fullbacks that can't quite match up with the strikers, although I wouldn't really expect Pele to be winning in too many of those battles, but that is not a possession stat that we're used to seeing for Tekkz. Only 35%, just the one shot. Resende yet to get a shot away. A very cagey first half, as we are used to seeing, especially when we get to this particular stage. Quarterfinals do seem to be the scariest round for a lot of these players because there is so much extra on the line. Not having to qualify for the next event if you are able to get through to the semi-finals. And players are outspoken about it. They say how important it is for them to get to the semis. And Tekkz in particular says he really doesn't want to have to play the online qualifiers.
I mean, why would you? If you had the opportunity not to and enjoy your weekend, then I think every single person given that opportunity will bite your hand off for it. The second half underway here. I also think one thing we can take away is something that you brought up, quite rightly so, in that first half, is there's a level of respect between these two players at this stage, having recently played against each other. I think Resende understands that Tekkz is going to want to, as you say, get revenge on him for what happened back in Milan. And at the same time, Tekkz is aware of what Resende's got in the locker and the fact that he can take games away from him. And that's a beautiful ball around the corner. It was almost an absolute peach of a pass into R9 Ronaldo. A couple of step overs, but Van Dijk, we know how long a road it is around the Dutchman in that centre-back position.
And you will always see, as soon as Tekkz gets that ball with R9 in that kind of area, he's going to try something, whether it be step overs, an elastico, drag back, any sort of skill move to try and beat that man. It just hasn't really worked out thus far. It has been putting it into the feet of R9 facing goal rather than his back to goal, so he hasn't really gone for the scoop turn as such.
There's a running behind there from Hello, I believe that is up front. He's now on the ball. It wasn't spotted by Resende. Instead, he decided to just look to recycle the ball once more. Now Robertson, as the players switch to this near side. A little bit of space here for Ronaldo, but again, we just saw that offside trap being played with by Tekkz, and we know well, that's caused him a little bit of a problem yesterday against Gorilla. Resende just resorts to taking a little pop shot from distance here, and that's fallen back to him now. Ronaldo and Resende working together to try and find a way through on goal, but Tekkz holds strong once more. Resende still not able to get that shot away.
By taking that shot from distance, it did collide with the defender's shins, and that's when it starts to get a little bit scary as a defender, because you never really know where that ball's going to go. It becomes a little bit more unpredictable when you start to struggle to keep up with play, but Tekkz did very well with player switching. But really, not much to offer going forward from Fnatic's Tekkz, which is not something I often say. I am usually one of Tekkz's biggest praisers when it comes to his FIFA ability. But right now, Resende's shutting him out.
That's been a very quiet affair so far as chances have been concerned, but we know when that chance does come, how deadly both these players are in front of goal. Tekkz deep in defence here. Robertson trying to find the ball round to Cristiano Ronaldo. Hullit's pulled wide here to try and maybe connect a few pieces in the puzzle as far as chance creation is concerned, but again, it's just bodies in the way here from Fnatic's Tekkz. Kante comes across to deal with Cruyff, and there is the pause. I think it's just going to be personnel changes at this point. Yeah. No one's going to make big tactical adjustments considering where we are in the state of this tie.
I mean, if this game is a puzzle, we've barely found all the edge pieces at this point, and it's probably a 5,000 piece puzzle because there just hasn't been really anything to talk about. It's just been that battle in midfield and both players trying to get it down the wing where possible, spread the play to try and counteract any overload ball side triggers. We had a brief look at the tactics there, fairly normal for what we see now from players. A relatively low depth of 4, a width of 4 or 5, and then balanced in terms of defensive and offensive styles.
Is it going to be one of these players who's coming off the bench that's going to make the change here? You saw Tekkz bringing on Ronaldinho in that central attacking midfield role just in behind R9 Ronaldo. Seems to be one of those kind of players that Tekkz has always enjoyed using. He likes someone with a little bit of swagger in that attacking third. Decent amount of physicality to him as well. Back underway here, and with around 22 minutes until stoppage time kicks in and we get towards the end of this first leg. Still nothing really to write home about from either of these players.
And I do wonder how much of this is impacted by that E-Club loss from Tekkz, where he's thinking, right, let's just not lose this first leg and we'll go into leg number 2, where I've kind of learnt how Resende is going to be playing this game. Because he really has just absorbed pressure and kind of sat and watched how Resende is going to be attacking. You can see that in the possession stats. And that's going to be a little bit frustrating for Resende as well, to dominate so much of the ball but not really be able to create any chances.
Big switch in the play here from Resende once more then. Trying to find that space in behind down those flanks, but this time goes all the way back across, and it's a more central approach to his attack as Robertson has had the option to go forward. A little bit of close dribbling from him to just ward off Cristiano Ronaldo for a moment. Mendy comes out to challenge Mane, and that's a big tackle there from the Real Madrid man. But saying that, Kante comes in with one of his own, but just doesn't come out with the ball.
Yeah, even though Tekkz tried to break through and get a speedy counter-attack on the go, it was quickly halted. And back to just playing it around the back four and looking for another gap. Ronaldinho now on the pitch for Tekkz. A very explosive foot item. Certainly in terms of dribbling capabilities and speed and the pass and move options he does provide. We'll see whether he can be the difference maker for Tekkz in these final 10 minutes of this first leg.
Well, here's Hullet into R9. The first time that R9's been able to face up, face to face with Virgil van Dijk for quite some time here, but Van Dijk again just makes comfortable work of it here. 83 minutes now on the clock, and Resende, the Brazilian, goes forward. Mane dropping deep. I just wonder at this point, with how tight a game it's been, Dan, is this going to be a case of Resende, even at this point in the game, the 84th, 85th minute, waiting for that last attack?
I don't know if it will be him opting to wait for the last attack or more rather forced to kind of wait for that last attack because he just hasn't been able to get through the defensive Tekkz. Here's something though.
Resende moving well, and you could see if that pass was a little bit more precise. There was running behind the man. He did make that interception, and now it will be Tekkz who can come forward. And this could well be the last attack of the game now into the 89th minute.
I wonder whether we'll see something similar when we were in that 45th minute and Tekkz kind of held onto the ball, dribbled to the sideline and then pinged one down the wing.
The fourth official has indicated
Great spread of the play there from Tekkz, just waiting for the players to push up from Resende. And there is that ball down the line. It's going to be Kylian Mbappe who will win the foot race here. Back inside here to R9. Trying to get away from Van Dijk, but easier said than done at the end of our first leg here. 0-0.
Yeah, and it's
Don't really know what else to say.
It's one of those where you get two giants in a knockout stage and they just counteract each other and they cancel each other out at this point. Tekkz is going to have a little rest of his eyes, as I'm sure he would rather be playing some more attacking football. But both players with 10, 11 men behind the ball. And they just weren't able to create any chances whatsoever.
Can't remember either goalkeeper having to make a save.
There was one shot from both players. And I thought maybe at the end, Tekkz would be able to break through if Resende got a little bit nervous because it's the final attack. But that's also something you have to take into account. Both of these players have been here before. They are used to knockout stages. They're used to being in the quarterfinals. They're not going to be nervous when their opposition is on the ball. Nerves aren't really anything players with this experience face. And
just to paint the picture a little bit better of how the tournament is structured at the moment on the Xbox, it's the other semi-final that we've got going on potentially is, well, will be going on, is going to be Mino against Dasari. So that long old, age-old Dasari versus Tekkz is still very much available for a potential console final here. Yeah, and so Mino will want to have something to say about that himself.
Only two previous
Same as Resende.
Foot Champions Cup players left in the tournament, Foot Champions Cup winners left in the tournament as well in Dasari and Tekkz. Otherwise, we would see a new winner and a new name on that trophy. As Resende will just have to wait now because Tekkz will take his bathroom break, which he does between every leg. He likes to reset, as it were.
I want to talk about the Brazilian talent that seems to be coming through all the time. Every single tournament, there's another name that steps up when they've made that qualification spot, got to the tournament. They always go deep in the tournament. And I just want to give a huge shout out to the South American region in general. I think they have put in an incredible performances every single time they've been given the opportunity. And this time it's Resende carrying the flag. And it's, Richard Buckley was talking about it earlier on. He was saying there's so many players. Every time they qualify, they are so dangerous in the bracket. It's crazy to see. I mean, Felipe, what a performance from him today.
Yeah, he's going to be who they will face. Whoever the winner of this matchup is going to play in the semi-final. So we could have an all-Brazilian affair. When you look at players like Spider-Kong, who was just
sat at home right now.
Unbeaten at the E-Club World Cup in individual matches. Sat at home, didn't qualify for this one, was a previous Foot Champions Master, was able to qualify to Foot Champions Cup Stage 3, but wasn't able to get to this one. There is just so much talent. I mean, we can look back to previous events as well, for Filza getting to a final.
Zezinho.
There's just so many names. And that's I don't know what it is, whether it's just something in the water over there, something else they're eating, I don't really know.
It's that classic passion for football, I think, that translates over into FIFA as well. You know, they love the football, obviously South America, and obviously they love their FIFA as well. And not only that, they're pretty damn good at it, but they're providing us with incredible depth of talent every single event. I'd be very interested to see kind of a little event going on in South America. I'd like to see that happen and see what comes out on top there. That'd be a lot of fun. But here's the man who's currently carrying the flag for Brazil, Resende. And he has been, in my opinion, one of the standout players this year for sure as far as that particular region is concerned, because Tekkz has just returned to the fold now after the customary bathroom break just to reset and refocus. And a little conversation going on with #Harry here about how to approach this second leg. And sometimes I think just taking that few moments to yourself after such a period of intense mental focus, just to literally forget about FIFA, even if it's for 2-3 minutes, is a smart thing to do from Tekkz.
Well, game on then. Really a lackluster first leg between these two. In 90 minutes of FIFA where nothing really happened. And I hope that changes, because both of these players are two of the best around. And you spoke of the South American tournament. Of course, there is a South American tournament coming in April. And there's all of the additions that are being added to FIFA at the moment as well to celebrate it. And we will see players like Resende, like Fafilza, like Spider-Kong, like Yago.
We just take a second, sorry to cut you off. Did you see what Tekkz is, not get slapped, but what his username was there?
No, I didn't.
I've forgotten it already, but it was amazing. There it is, Wonky a Puppet.
To be fair, that sounds like the kind of gamer tag that Tekkz would have.
It's true. Yeah, what is he? Collect celery?
Collect celery is
it's
his gamer tag.
Classic generated one, isn't it? That just pops up and you're like, yeah. Whatever.
So there you go. If you're playing Weekend League and you come up against Collect Celery and you think you're all right, and then suddenly you see a God Squad, that's the man on your screen. It's going to be Tekkz you're going up against.
Well, just a little reset of the game here before we get into it. See, nothing particularly effective. I think there was 2 touches of the ball before we, 2 or 3 touches of the ball before we had to restart this one. So still 0-0. Essentially now this does become a one-leg game, though.
There was almost as many shots in that 2 minutes as there was in the 90 minutes prior.
It's a good point, well made. And we'll leave that point where it is because something's got to change. Someone's got to heat up.
Someone has to go at the other person.
We've got to have a goal, Dan.
We've got to have some shots, and we really need one of these players just to take the risk and say, actually, I want to go at my opponent. I want to win this game.
The referee will pull this back for a free kick, just as Tekkz was almost immediately looking to get in behind there on the far side. The error now inside to Pele. A little bit of space here for the Brazilian to twist and turn and look for a little skill move back inside. Ronaldo comes across, and good player switch in there from Tekkz to recognise the potential for the switch of play.
I think for both of these players now, they're in that situation of they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they decide they want to step up and they want to be pressing more and maybe raise that depth a little bit, start playing more attacking football, they could be punished, and then they'll be thinking afterwards, well, why didn't I just stick with the original plan of playing how my opponent's playing right now and just trying to hold on to that possession. It's a very difficult decision they have to make when there is so much on the line in this particular round.
Well, the first goal we always say is vital, and in a game like this, in a tie like this with so much on the line, it really is the case. Elastico from Tekkz, and just like that! Tekkz lights up the main stage again here in Paris. Beautiful stuff from R9, and Tekkz takes the lead.
And it was all the way back in FIFA 19 in Atlanta where Tekkz linked all of those Elasticos together. It almost became his skill move. Well, he's starting to do it again in FIFA 20. The half drag back into Elastico. We've seen him perform so many times and finding success with it. And it will break the deadlock here. And it's what this game needed. It's going to open it up now. Resende is going to have to come out of his shell and attack Tekkz as well, which is going to leave gaps and allow Tekkz to also flourish going forward.
Well, now Tekkz has got something to hold on to. Resende is going to be the player who has to force the pace. For Tekkz, he can continue with things exactly the same as they were. Slow, deliberate, almost methodical, surgical in the way that he's moving forward until that moment. And he's just so good at recognizing that moment where he can burst into life, Dan.
He does just flick a switch and change the speed of the game so effectively. And they'll have the chance to do it here again if he can find R9, but doesn't go for the through ball. Instead, will continue with the patient build-up.
It's almost lulling you into a full sense of security, thinking, what's he doing here? He's passing it around and waiting for that opportunity, but as soon as he can fire that ball into the feet of R9, there's just something magical that can happen at any point, and we saw an example of it there with that goal that broke the deadlock.
He should almost be trademarking it at this point. The amount of times he has been able to find a goal using the half drag back into Elastico. Something I've been trying to replicate at home, but I just can't seem to do it with as much success as he does.
And up booting the ball straight out of play. Looks great, but Resende now, massive chance for him to equalise, and that goal is a lot more simple, but it's just as effective here for the Brazilian. We're tied up at 1-1. But it's the same goal scorer that we saw at the other end, R9, deadly inside the 18-yard box.
He just managed to slot it through the middle. Van Dijk and Vieira both caught out there. And R9 doing the job at both ends. And the pause will come in. Tekkz will probably be feeling, well, I've had to work so hard to get my goal, but just like that, just one pass. Great vision from Resende to even go for it. 9 times out of 10, I'd say that's probably cut out by Van Dijk, but he's managed to find that one chance.
So more shots in the first 24 minutes than we had in the entirety of the first 90. The first 90, more of a jousting match between the two. But now some blows are being landed. 1-1, Resende answers back almost immediately after Tekkz broke the deadlock. Now it's Tekkz' time to go forward. Alexander-Arnold nips in to save Frankie de Jong's blushes a little bit there, and here is R9, and we know how deadly he is. Gets fortunate to keep the ball, the half drag back, the Elastico again being combined. This time, not quite as effective. Resende doing a good job to defend.
Tries it the second time, and does need to be careful not to be too repetitive here, Tekkz, but I think trying it again, perfectly acceptable, maybe something different, and then bring it back again a little bit later on in the game. But I think at this point, Resende knows full well it's a possibility anyway. So it's almost like going for a bluff or a double bluff. Because when it works, it certainly pays off.
Carlos Alberto is going to continue his run. He'll now retreat back to that fullback position. Resende is now on the attack once more, the Brazilian, Hullet. His goal, much more traditional, passing it around, waiting for that gap to appear. Pele, great footwork from him, but Frankie de Jong just nips in and saw the opportunity to win the ball, and the Dutchman doesn't need to be asked twice. Again, you have to say it's been a defensive masterclass from both players.
Tekkz very much targeting this right-hand side with Cristiano Ronaldo right now, and then driving it into the middle.
Pele now dropping in. Unfortunately for him, couldn't find that pass inside.
Almost at half-time of this second leg, and it's when you start to think about extra time, think about even, dare I say it, penalties. As even when we thought maybe Tekkz would be able to start to gain a real advantage here, Resende hit straight back.
Well, Vieira's trying to put the pressure onto Pele here. Again, Frankie de Jong's going to be sitting deep there and win the ball back. Tekkz is looking to spring a counter-attack himself almost immediately with Pele, but again, just recycling the play, looking at that game clock. I wonder if that's hashtag Harry in his ear, just saying 42 minutes on the clock.
I mean, coaching is something that is very important in FIFA, and we have seen Tekkz go through a variety of different coaches. Was partnered with Enzo for quite some time, and Enzo really did bring something different to Tekkz' game, but then I mean, maybe the friendship that has blossomed between Tekkz and Harry, he's decided to go down that route of having the support in a different kind of way. But Harry, an amazing FIFA player, of course, in his own right, and apart from this event, has qualified for all other FIFA events this year. There's just the one shot from both players, but both have resulted in a goal.
Both impressive goals as well from both players. Well worked. Tekkz, a little bit more individual brilliance. More of a team goal coming in from Resende. But when all said and done, after the first 90 minutes of the first leg and 45 of the second, we're still essentially tied up at 0-0 between these two players. 1-1, of course, in the game, but still a case of next goal could potentially win this tie. And just a reminder, if you're joining us for the first time, so the final quarter-final of the Xbox, a master's place on the line here, automatic qualification through to the next event, which is really good for the players, isn't it, Dan?
$7,500 as well. 800 Global Series ranking points. It would keep Tekkz just at the top of the Xbox Global Series rankings. He was pipped by Nicholas Razek for a short while before the E-Club World Cup. With Nicholas Razek eliminated, Tekkz's closest competition now not in the runnings to take that spot once again. And Tekkz does like staying on top in the rankings. He does like being number one.
It's something that kind of has slipped under the radar a little bit this year because we were so used to the dominance of Tekkz last year. It was just championship, trophy, title. Every single time he seems to turn up. He's still the number one ranked Xbox player in the world at the moment. Consistency has been a key part of his game this year. It's not like he's not been as effective, but speaking of effective, R9 turns his man, and Resende cannot believe the Brazilians missed that. What a save that was from Alisson.
Virgil van Dijk steps in from the corner, and Tekkz does have the opportunity to break away here. There's already so many people for Resende getting back. Instantly snatches the ball away from Tekkz, and Tekkz just has to be careful because Resende is consistently finding these passes to R9 right through the center, through the heart of his defense.
Well, Tekkz has won the ball back here, and with a little scoop turn, tries to burst up the pitch, and you just feel the tempo starting to increase a little bit more in this game. Every time the ball's being won back, it's both players immediately looking to move the ball forward, shift the ball forward as their first port of call. Mbappe now dropping in. Kante back to the Frenchman. The 11's man, Resende, creeping his way forward once more, but Tekkz defends initially, but the second wave might come in here. Kante gets dispossessed.
Will be a switch of play, but you can see that Resende trying to press in his opposition half here. Wants to win that ball back in a dangerous area so we can take advantage of it. Trying to utilize the speed of Mbappe.
With 30 minutes left on the clock here. And will it be the pace of Mbappe that creates a chance, or will it be the close dribbling here of Pele? Carlos Alberto comes across though. And just when you see maybe an opportunity to go forward, maybe a little space to slide a ball into, every time the defenders are coming out on top at the moment.
Tekkz hasn't had to go to a penalty shootout so far this tournament. Resende has been in one during the Swiss stage, which he did find a victory from.
The play's been stretched just momentarily here by Resende. There was a tiny little bit of space, and it's been exploited here by R9 Ronaldo, just finding himself between the two central defensive midfielders and that back line, but a shot from Cristiano Ronaldo, having kind of been presented with the opportunity, not going to be dangerous enough to really test the goalkeeper. Straight up the other end now, Tekkz trying to find the feet of Mbappe, who kind of took the long way around there instead of just picking the ball up and keeping it under his spell. De Jong now into R9.
So close.
Again, every single inch of Patrick Vieira having to be used there to cut that ball out.
Everyone. Difficult though when defenders are just this good in FIFA 20. A usual pass you might see break through and unlock that defense in FIFA 19, FIFA 18, whichever one you want to go for. It just doesn't seem to work out in this current meta game that we have. Prime icon moments, Vieira, too good. 99 rated, team of the year, Van Dijk, the best ever centre-back we've seen in FIFA Ultimate Team. Too good.
And it takes something special to get past those two.
And again, it brings me back to the point, and do you start going for crosses to that back post? Do you start looking for Cristiano Ronaldo? I know it's not the game style of either of these players, but when you're not really been able to find anything else, do you at least try it once? Robertson at the back post is really going to struggle against Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, speaking of Cristiano Ronaldo, here he goes from Resende. Oh, the little scoop turn. He got the nutmeg on the player, and R9 can't convert initially, and the red time finish, unfortunately, from R9 is going to send that one wide. That scoop turn left that player completely for dead, and now in the last few minutes, Resende coming forward once more with Mbappe, goes back inside. Kante just surveying the lay of the land in front of him, but can't find an opportunity to go forward, and here comes Tekkz.
And you can see how he just wants to drive as well, but he's just restricted every single time because all these passing lanes are being cut off by Resende. Both players completely and utterly frustrated every time they go forward.
5 minutes left of regulation time here in the Xbox quarter-final. We've seen late goals, we've seen drama. So many times, not just today. But in FIFA esports, changed the complexion of tournaments. Maybe it's going to be Tekkz who can provide it once more. R9 back inside, goes for the strike, but cannot beat Allison on the left foot. And the goalkeeper, to be honest with you, made it look very comfortable.
He did. Didn't quite get the bend and the whip that you need on it for the finesse into the top corner. And it will mean that we're heading towards extra time unless this ball can be won by Cristiano Ronaldo, but Alexander-Arnold does better usually than his counterpart Robertson when it comes to challenging CR7.
What a ball that is from Tekkz. Inside stoppage time here. Last chance to go forward for either of these players, surely. Referee brings it to an end. 1-1 after 2 legs of FIFA. And we're going to extra time.
I mean, it's a real shame when you get 2 of the best players in the world and you kind of have this stalemate. And I do hope that in the future, with FIFA 20, we get to a point where we can see more open games, a more attacking style game. But at least we start to see a couple more shots on goal towards the end of that 90 minutes. And now as we get into extra time, those defenders are going to be a little bit more fatigued. There is going to be the possibility of getting behind more often, especially with substitutes available. And I'm with Richard Buckley when I'm saying, where's Adama Traore at this point? Because in Weekend League, he does an absolute job at coming off the bench and penetrating defences. But I guess instead you've got Team of the Year Mane, which I guess is okay.
You've got better players.
No, Traore is a god.
Anyway, extra time here. And it's Tekkz on the attack automatically. From the restart, Carlos Alberto has to use every single piece of strength he can muster to hold off the attentions of Ronaldo there. I don't think we're going to the spot here, though. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to make a prediction, something I very rarely do. I think we will see a winner in extra time here, Dan.
I think we'll see a penalty shootout. But we're going to see 2 goals before we get there. There we go. We've willed it now. We've willed some goals.
Spoke it into existence. I think it's going to happen. I can see a winner. The game loves to give us drama. And hopefully we can give you a little bit of drama at home. Robertson into Ronaldinho, the 11's man, Resende. Cannot find a way through the defence once more, but that little ball inside has created the opportunity for R9 to maybe get a pass away and has to fight with Patrick Vieira in order to even get a pass sideways.
These halves in extra time go so quickly in FIFA. Maybe a couple more chances, or it might even just be 1 left for Tekkz before we get to the halftime whistle.
Made a little run there, a little darting run over the shoulder of the centre-back, and he was almost found by R9 Ronaldo.
I think that's the key word for this entire game, is it's been almost every single time with these passes. We've seen a couple of breakthroughs, and that has resulted in a goal for both opponents.
Stoppage time then, end of the first half of extra time. Resende with the ball at his feet. Referee brings it to a halt though. 15 more minutes to decide if there's going to be a winner. Otherwise, we are going to the spot.
Tekkz has only been reduced to just scoring one goal in one of his games so far this tournament. That was against Lenny, his second of the Swiss phase. Resende, however, a couple of times has only scored one goal against Jonas. It went to a penalty shootout, and then he did win said penalty shootout. So if history were to repeat itself there, he would be the semi-finalist.
Let's just remind ourselves as well that he's got #Harry behind him. Self-proclaimed king of the penalties, even though he lost his last one.
Did lose his last one, but he did train the person that beat him in his last one. So you are completely right. But how much does #Harry give when you get to that situation? Is he going to be giving advice to Tekkz? Is he going to be telling him what to do? Is Tekkz going to be listening at that point? Or Tekkz, does he have his own ideas of how to approach a penalty shootout?
Well, Lionel Messi. Fresh on the pitch here for Tekkz. He's going to be darting in and around in that cam spot, trying to find those little pockets of space to feed R9. As Cristiano Ronaldo just leaves the touchline for a second, he's going to be upended here. Maybe it's a set piece that can separate the two players. Robertson goes into the book.
We have seen a couple of creative set pieces this tournament.
Tekkz chips it up here to Alexander-Arnold. A little bit more for show than effect. Messi does find that pocket of space I was talking about. Here's R9! And Tekkz just knows how to win games. When the stakes are at their highest.
A little bit of chit-chat between Harry and Tekkz there. As now all he has to do is keep calm and win this ball back, as there is very little time for Resende to get back into it. That could well and truly be the winner that sends Tekkz to the semi-final and has him as one of our masters, booking his spot at Foot Champions Cup Stage 5 and also continuing his route towards yet another console final where he could potentially face MS Dasari, which I know fans around the world would love to see those two go up against each other once again. We haven't seen it in quite some time.
I just want to touch upon the point. It was Lionel Messi who found that little pocket of space, those fresh legs on the pitch, the movement, the attacking positioning of Lionel Messi just has this ability to pop up in little areas of space, and then he fed R9. Little drop of the shoulder and a fantastic bullet of a finish into the top corner. It's classic Tekkz. Now he's just got to hold on. Now he's got to defend, and you can see from his adjustments in the tactics screen exactly what his mode of play is going to be.
Yeah, I guess Messi's an okay super sub instead of Adama Traore, isn't he?
Yeah.
But you're completely right. I mean, when some of these defenders don't have the same kind of fatigue they had right at the start of the game, you can find some of these spots that aren't quite available in the early stages. Tekkz has taken full advantage of that, but now he needs to switch on, needs to win the ball back. Robertson doing incredibly well there,
What a tussle that was between those two, and Resende has to make the most of any chance that falls his way. Maybe just snatched at that one a little bit early. Felt he had to test the goalkeeper, at least put Tekkz under pressure. But was that the right choice?
I think it's because he had a slight glimpse on goal, and similar to how Tekkz just scored his, when you see that slight glimpse, you think, well, am I going to get a better opportunity at a shot in just a few minutes left in this game? It may be his only chance, because now Tekkz has the ball, and we're going into stoppage time of extra time.
I think this is going to be it. If Tekkz can hold on to the ball for just a few more moments, Tekkz will be advancing. Tekkz will be one of our masters here in Paris. Gives the ball back to Allison. 20 seconds left on the clock. Barring a massive mistake, Tekkz will move through. And the stone face of Tekkz moves on into our Xbox semi-finals.
And well, Harry certainly taught him something, and that's how to stare down the camera. But you can see what it means to him, and we'll reiterate. It's the fact they don't have to then qualify for the next tournament. They guarantee their spot. And Tekkz makes yet another console semi-final. I remember throughout FIFA 19, he was always reaching console semi-finals. It wasn't until the E-World Cup that we saw him drop earlier than a semi-final in a major FUT Champions Cup. But what a performance it was in the end from him. Yes, okay, a very tightly contested game, a game of very few chances. But when your back's against the wall, you are the one who has to take advantage of any sort of opportunity. And he did just that with R9 in the late stages.
Yeah, he found that little pocket of space, and when the chance presented itself, Tekkz found a way to score, to take the lead and to hold the game out. It's classic Tekkz. He just knows how to win these big games, and huge credit again to Resende. Put up a fantastic performance. He's going to be absolutely gutted again. I think like all players are, having got so close to that Masters spot, not being able to get across the line. But one man who has got across the line into the Xbox semi-finals is Tekkz, and he's down on the floor with Jillian.
Tekkz, that was a thriller, but you got it done. How were you able to keep your edge?
Every game on FIFA 20 is a 50-50. Like, he'll win the next one, I'll win this one, because the game is so, like, unrewarding that anyone can win. Like, guys who aren't good can win on FIFA 20, and no one enjoys playing it, but, you know, we're here, and I'm in the semi-final now, so, yeah, that's that. I'm quite happy with it, to be honest, but now I've got semi-final. Is it Felipe I'm playing?
Yes, it'll be Felipe. What a difference, right? Did you know anything about Felipe coming in here?
Nah, but Harry told me before the tournament, like, we looked at, I played him first game, Felipe. Okay. And he says, okay, a top 4 Brazilian always gets top 4, like a 16-year-old. So we thought he would get top 4 going into the tournament. And after the first game I played against him, I was like, yeah, he's definitely getting top 4. Now here we are, we're going to have a rematch.
The Brazilians are saying that they're here to get more of respect, that they feel like they get overlooked in general. And I have to ask you about Harry, your bromance with him. You have him as your coach here. How's that made this experience different?
One thing I do want to say, I think South America is the best region. Like, I'm not saying every time, like, a random guy who no one knows comes and gets top 4, so big up South America. And Harry, man, it's different. I've always had, like, a coach with me, and now, like, I thought, I stopped enjoying FIFA. I've gone on about it a lot of the time. But now, Harry, it's different. It's like more of like just a fun thing. Like, I haven't been nervous one time, except from in that game.
Someone else who was nervous was your mom was watching. Why'd you throw your hand warmer over at her?
Hand warmer over there, because in the group stage, I lobbed one because I got angry, and she was annoyed at me. So, mum being mum, I thought, okay, let me be a bit cheeky. I lobbed the hand warmer over after I won.
She'll be happy to have that hand warmer. All right, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. So, and the other hand warmer, but that one over to #Tom, actually. All right, so much more coming up from Paris. Stay tuned.